Hey, what's up? Let's make sure that this microphone is on. Hey, it's all good. What's up, Cynical? I don't know if you're watching the season. Understand, I just started watching this show last season. Rest in peace to Mickey. I just started watching this show, Big Brother. Um, yeah, last season. Because usually I have to find something to watch, like that I can watch, that like a marathon, and usually like reality shows where there's like kind of a competition, where I can watch like back to back where I'm engaged but not too engaged. Those are the shows that I'm usually able to watch while doing, relocking my hair, which takes some time. It can, take over like sometimes up to a week to relock my micro locks. So I usually find something to watch, and that's why I started watching Survivor just a few seasons ago. However, I just started watching Big Brother last season, and what's so messed up, the season I watched, it happened to be a tragedy. Yeah, a sister from last season, and she was one that was, somewhat criticized, but she ended up passing away. Young sister. I think she was still. I don't even think she was in her 30s yet. Mickey. I did not expect that, but I just started watching the show. How you doing, Cynical One? And being that I don't believe that you guys are watching these shows, I don't know, for whatever reason, you didn't have as many of my people, quote unquote, black people watching Survivor. I remember when we used to be in the message forums talking about all the reality shows, and we come up in there and talk about America's Next Time Model. It didn't seem to be as many of my people watching Survivor. I don't really recall there being list sectors in the message forum with us, discussing the topic, or talking about the show Survivor, as if not as many of us watched. However, what has been referred to as the new, quote unquote, new era of Survivor, some people call it the woke era, in these more recent years, I think that's been like what, from like season 40 on, they have added more diversity, if you will, to the cast. And yeah, I don't think a show like that would really attract us as much. A show where you got a whole bunch of, you got a group of people on an island, like on a stranded island, and they gotta survive by any means necessary, if you will. If that means like backstabbing people, and as long as they go along with the rules, and and especially if we happen to be like the token, we're very much the minority. See, we know what that's like in real life. So perhaps a show like that would not have initially attracted our people. Um, yeah, shows such as, especially when we're greatly outnumbered. Although I guess you could say it has become a little more diverse, if you will, over the last couple of years. And also, too, this is CBS. And if you know anything about the network CBS, which has been one of the earliest, one of the first of the television networks, CBS, especially since certain shows that were popular in the 70s, like uh, the Jeffersons and Good Times, especially since those shows ended sometime around the late 70s, early 80s. CBS has been known for catering more to a whiter audience, especially, whiter older people, like when you consider shows. Yeah, it wasn't Murder She Wrote. Yeah, my family didn't really watch CBS too much, not after the 70s. Yeah, but it's hard to believe that Good Times was one that was CBS. Believe it or not, that's very hard to believe. And you remember the video I did, my classic video years ago. They got many views, and I was one of the first, if not the first, up in YouTube, pointing this out on how TV networks, how they use black people, or they use black culture, if you will, black American culture, to attract people to these channels, especially when we're talking sitcoms, through sitcoms. Um, like when I think of what Sanford and Son did for NBC, and yeah, such shows, and even when we all the way up to Fox, and of course we know Cosby helped make Cosby and Different World and 227 and later Fresh Prince of Bel Air, that helped to make NBC must see TV. And I'm not saying that they didn't have other good shows like Cheers, but we know that, yeah, the Cosby Show, that was like watched in every household, not just in white American households. Yeah, and it definitely, I'm talking before Friends and Seinfeld and Kramer and all of that. Okay, yeah, and the same could be said when you think of, yeah, Full House. That was a hit show in the late 80s and into the 90s, but it was really Family Matters with the addition of Steve Urkel character that really helped make TGI Fridays. Let's keep it real. And I'm not saying that the other shows weren't good. Like, I really liked Boy Meets World, but I talked about how these networks, once they get it, um, a show with a predominantly black cast or even a black influence. Like even when you think of Fox with Married with Children, even before Martin and Living Single and In Living Color and stuff, even with Married with Children, one of the primary writers for Married with Children was a black man. Um, yeah, but like I said, a lot of times these shows or these networks, once they get that mainstream audience, then they end up, next thing you know, all these shows end up they end up removing the color. I've seen it happen over and over again, even when we consider WB and UPN that eventually came to CW. You think about it, think of Tyra Banks and all of the views that she helped to bring UPN, and even before that with the show Moesha. um, think of we know with Fox, with all these networks. It happens over and over again. WB and UPN, but eventually, once they get that mainstream, once we attract the audience, then they get that. Then they find that show that for the mainstream with the predominantly white cast, like on what was it, WB? Yeah, it was Dawson's Creek and Gilmore Girls and Seventh Heaven, and then yeah, those shows, and then that's when they started, one by one removing the quote unquote blacker shows, and they do this every time. Um, and yeah, and I said that this is recently I've witnessed. I think that Netflix is next, even though Netflix is not a television network. But think about it. Think about it. Black folks love Netflix. It was cheap and everything. But think about it. Luke Cage. Yeah. So we've witnessed this over and over, going back from the early days of television. I can go from network to network, but I've talked about this. Yeah, and of course, and so CBS, it's no different. Now I've heard that, yeah, with the Big Brother, um, I think that things had became different, or I guess you could say more diverse after what season did they say? Was it season 23 that they referred to as the Cookout or something? Or I guess there was this alliance called the Cookout. Now I didn't watch it, but I'm gonna assume perhaps like there was this like Black Alliance. I guess people are saying that things changed since then. And last season they happened to have a black female who I didn't expect, who I thought was going to be sent home earlier to win last season. Her name happened to be Ashley. And yeah, and perhaps some people, some of the mainstream viewers want the rightful order to be restored to CBS or to Big Brother or these shows. Now, I don't know. I haven't been watching as long, but yeah, there are a lot of people who are feeling this season of Big Brother is very, very much rigged. Okay, for their perhaps for the audience, for their American, all American audience. If you understand what I'm saying. Now, they've brought on Rick Devens. They brought on some what they refer to as icons from the show Survivor and a Big Brother icon. They brought on Rick Devens, and now he was on Survivor. I did not see his original season, but I did like him on. He really, really made the show, the season exciting. Survivor 50 All Stars that just aired earlier this year, was it? It started like earlier this year. It just ended, or like late last year. Yeah, I like Rick Davis. I didn't see him from his original season because I wasn't watching it back then, but I did watch him with the All Stars. Yeah, this season, I don't know. He seemed cool last season. This season, because right away when he came on the show, right? Okay, they brought him back along with this Cuban, this Latina American, this female player D, okay, who was a winner from she was a winner from Survivor, and I always even though some people I always gave her props as a winner. I felt people downplayed her props as a winner because she was a woman and and some people didn't like her, but even though she wasn't the most likable person, but I always gave her props. I think that she won fair and square, and I would in the comment section, kind of defend D. Because I do feel that she is a good player. I ain't even gonna front. She is a good, she's a good competitor physically, and she has really good social game. Some people think that she just had, all the players around her were just weaker. Some people think, but no, I wouldn't say that. And even if that is the case, that's on them. Well, anyways, she's also been brought back, and obviously there's this white woman, this older white woman who's like maybe a little older than me, named Angela, and I don't know because I just started watching some Big Brother, but I guess she was on some prior seasons, and she's known for like crying and being overly emotional, right? Now remember, when I was just talking about with this show, and I was talking about the whole thing with gay men. But okay, yeah, I was like, wow, because it was this guy that was on there this season, right? From he was a former contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race, and he had lied to her, or he was being deceptive using his mother's passing and him being gay to get her to get this white woman, Angela, this older white woman who's like a motherly figure, get her sympathy and support, right? And he looks into the camera being deceptive. Remember, I was just talking about that. I wasn't familiar with this woman, Angela, and I ain't had nothing against her. I felt really, really bad for her. Like, that's really wrong of him to play on her motherly instinct. You remember, I was just talking about that not too long ago. I don't know if y'all were here when was talking about that. I think I was talking about something else though. But I was using that as an example. But I didn't understand because you see, I'm here over at Lipstick Alley. I didn't understand why they didn't like her. Obviously, they've been watching this show longer than I have, right? So I just go to Lipstick. They mean at Lipstick Alley, but I just come here, being that I can't talk about Survivor with y'all. So I guess this is going back to my message forum days. But I was never really with Lipstick Alley though, because they kind of talk on colorism, and not to mention there seemed to be, yeah, I like a more co-ed environment with males and females. But I do come here to see what they got to say on Survivor and Big Brother. Yeah, because I don't think enough of y'all are up in here. See, ain't nobody up in here now. I don't think enough of y'all up in here, my people, to talk about this with. But obviously, I'm seeing that there are obviously more black people who watch Big Brother than Survivor. And I'm seeing that there are people, male and female. So I will say that much. But yeah, so I'm still over here at Big Brother, and I didn't understand why what they had the issue they had with this woman Angela initially, and now I see what they saying. She is indeed a Karen. Now, why? What am I up in here about today in regards to the show Big Brother? Well, once again, once again, we have another case scenario of black females, black competitors or contestants on these reality shows, being the tokens, being isolated, if you will, or being a narrative, being or people are trying to paint, or they're trying to put them in a box, or they're trying to make them the bad girls, like I checked out last season, not this past season, but what was it, Love Island season 7, to see what everybody was talking about with Olandria and Shelly and those females, other than getting entangled in those, other than being on that show where they're kissing all these strange people, those females did nothing wrong, okay? But somehow they were still able to make Shelly and Olandria into mean girls. Even though they didn't do anything. Really. Other than being on such a show where they're doing such things like kissing all of these strange people. Yeah, but they still, no matter what, they're gonna make us into the mean girls, the bad girls. They're gonna try, and if they can't, they're going to, yeah. One minute they were complaining and talking ish because these women, according to them, do all the, and from what we witnessed, these two women, LALA is the older woman on top. She's around my age, yeah, she's a little old, yeah, she's in her 50s like me. The woman on top, LALA, and I'm like, man, they just, how they happen to cast these two women who got like the same hairstyle, and they look very similar. It's like they could be related, you know. Um, and I'm not saying, I know that our people don't all look alike. I know that we are like the most diverse, but they just happen to find these two women, cast who look very similar. Just one is, older, and one is younger. Um, but yeah, Lala is the one on top. And come to find out, she was in the group. Uh, Sounds of Blackness, like I had talked about before. She was okay. Wait, hold on. Where's Lala? I showed y'all this before when I talked about this. Where's Lala? Here she go. And you can see my post right here. I said, yeah, 4-2. I see you, Latrice. Lala, aka Latrice. Yeah. Now I don't know. I don't know if she was a singer. Sounds of Blackness. Optimistic. And yeah, but you see her in this video. Hold on, change is coming. Remember this? Yeah, they kind of made those. What do you call it? I don't know if you put them in the category of gospel or inspirational. But yeah, I remember this. I remember this. This was for the 90s. Yeah, this is 1997. Assuming Lala was still in her 20s. Yeah, like me. I was in my 20s. Yeah, there she go. Yeah, she's on the show, walking around with like these Oriental. Well, I don't know if I can't use the word Oriental. These robes and these fancy looking like silk robes, and she's in bikinis and high heels. And yeah, because she talks about how she had like knee surgery, shoulder surgery. She had all this, and she got in the gym and strength trained and got in shape, and so she proudly walks around the Big Brother house showing her body, and she looks awesome. She looks awesome. Like yeah, definitely considering her age and all. Even though I believe this is how she's supposed to look. This is how we would look. That's her. This ain't Photoshop. This is like a screenshot. This is from her sitting talking live, and she looks great. I'm just not with the boho braids look. I'm just not with that look though. But yeah, but still, she looks great though. I will say, the color, even though I'm not one to have my hair this color, it does kind of go with their skin, but I'm not really with the boho braids look. Well, sometimes it look cute. Of course, I like braids, and I got my locks. But I don't know this boho look, what they call it. Yeah, but she looks great here. I do like the little with the flower adornments and everything. But yeah, oh yeah, and I talked about how she made history in winning she's one of those older women people would expect to perhaps maybe have good social game, but or be a motherly figure, but they wouldn't expect for her to win competitions, right? But actually, she ended up winning head of household and on one of the hardest challenges that they claim with Big Brother, where and she won. And as I showed you guys, where she beat a lot of really stronger, much stronger younger people. Well, perceived to be stronger, younger, muscular men. Even she ended up she made history as being the oldest person. Now that this is what they say. Not just the oldest woman, not just the oldest black woman, but the oldest person to win that competition. That takes a lot of physical and mental endurance, and she was able to do it. So, and I had learned that she just won the power of veto when she was put on the block. So I didn't exactly see because I ain't even really watched the last episode. One, I was talking with y'all, and two, I just wasn't interested after this last person here was voted off, Big Brother. And yeah, there's gonna be spoilers, of course, if you ain't watched it. But now this person here, it's interesting because with him being sent home, that kind of ended their chances or their alliance. He was like one of the last uh, predominantly Caucasian persons um, to be an alliance, and he was a strong competitor. So, that would have had them some sort of footing. But it's like now, since he's been voted off, they're kind of on their own. Now, what's interesting is that this guy, people are saying that he's like a MAGA racist. Yeah, because it was found out. Now, understand, this is stuff that LALA and Taylor, they don't know about, okay? But it has been found out since he's been on the show. Yeah, and also he had an altercation with the gay guy who was also a drag queen that he helped in getting him voted off the show. So there have been people accusing him of being homophobic, also because he said something in like letting it be clear that he don't do drag or something like that. He's an MMA fighter. He has to protect his image. So and being that he had this altercation with this gay contestant, people, and got him off the show and helped him get him voted off the show. People have been accusing him of being homophobic, and so and also he's one who's always quoting the Bible, like Bible scriptures. He's an MMA fighter, but he's got like all these tattoos, and there's some Christian symbology like in some of his tattoos, and he quotes the Bible, and so some people feel that he's a like Christian conservative. They're saying he has MAGA, and also so as this show was airing, some people found out some information. Perhaps some people from the community that supports the gay contestant Jason, they found that he there's a video of him, like I don't know if it's from his Facebook or something like that, where he's outside and he's recording himself. uh, there's somebody around his apartment making this noise and saying that I can't breathe. And so he makes a comment, a highly racially insensitive comment, saying, what does God think he's George Floyd or something like that. So yeah, so people, yeah, definitely believe that he's, like a racist MAGA type. Um, yeah, being that he made a racially insensitive comment that they found. Uh, yeah, but what's interesting now, of course, the people on the show, they don't know that. This is just something that's just been revealed. So the people on the show, they don't know that. So of course, the two black women, Lala, they wouldn't know that. But yeah, but he has been one. Whatever his feelings are in real life, people wouldn't really, at least when it comes to black people. Now you could maybe suspect how he feels about gays. I didn't necessarily pick that up, him being homophobic necessarily. But oh yeah, also he has said some things, yeah, I believe they said he said something towards one of the females, his white female, like about impregnating her. So I don't know. Yeah, it's also believed that he's like sexist, or misogynist or something. Some people believe. Yeah, but from what I've seen when it comes to him being racist, now if I was on this show and I ain't know nothing about, what he's doing and saying in Instagram, I would not detect that. So, in other words, whatever his feelings are in regards to race relations, and all of that, I can't say that I would be able to detect that on the show. He's just playing the game. And I will say, he was playing the game pretty well. Although he did, yeah, he initially allied with this brother here. Now he's an American brother of Nigerian descent. I think it's, yeah. Was he born in America? Yeah. Now he's one of those who now some people, because yeah, it was under Lala's head of household that she put this brother on the block, which led to him being evicted out. So you can say that the sister Lala turned on the brother, but no, she had turned on him. The only reason the sister, or the sisters or Lala turned on him or put him on the block, because come to find out, he had been talking badly about them. He's one of them type of brothers, kind of only for the most part want to work with the white folks. Okay, let's keep it real. Okay, like he had this tight alliance with this guy Kamu and this white female. Now, some people could try to assume, oh, it's about him being jealous, but they didn't show. Yeah, they didn't show him as being jealous towards this other white female. What was her name? Lyric. So why would they have been jealous of Haley? So it wasn't about jealousy. It's just, when as a black person and as a black woman, when it's the brother don't want to work with you. You know what's up. You know what you pick up. And he was with the white folks talking. And even though this guy Kamu ended up turning on him and telling Lala all the stuff that he said against her, he still had more animosity for the sister Lala. He still had, more animosity for her. Yeah, he was, one of them types, and who harps on how he loves country music, and okay, all right, you know, and plus people, but you know how it is when that first black person gets voted off. That that's it's like kind of like you're gonna begin to see the domino effect. Okay, you begin to see the domino effect usually, and I've noticed this even though I haven't even been watching Survivor. I started watching Survivor around what, season 40, but I do notice what people are saying about this. Like once you that first black person get, the rest of the tokens follow, right? um so after he's been voted off, yeah, so he was able to make alliance with Kamu. Has been able, he made an alliance because she was gonna put him on the block. Lala was gonna put him on the block. But what he did was told her all the stuff that he was saying against her behind her back. Him saying stuff, just because she cooking and cleaning, that don't mean that we gonna keep her here. So he ended up throwing him under the bus. So then they ended up, in alliance, but they ended up getting rid of him as a strong competitor. So the only other alliance that they got now, wait, hold on, is this guy here. And he's the only other person of color. But I believe that he's more of an East Indian, like Dravidian descent or something. Yeah, I think he's like more East Indian. Very Americanized, but yeah, I believe he's of like East Indian descent. But he's the only, like, they're like the only ally that they got. All right? He's the only ally that these two black women have gotten. Did they do anything wrong? Did they, why is it that they're isolated and they have no other allies? And yeah, all the other players, now after getting rid of this guy, they already got rid of this guy. So all the other players, including this female that a lot of them couldn't stand, named Haley, this white female, they all come together. um, well, they don't have Haley included here, but they all come together. This is what's left, besides Haley, who's not shown yet. But they're saving Haley. They're allowing to. They want her to be a part of. So they all come together, form what's all these separate alliances. White folks, they come together after getting rid of the black token that they had. He was like, and it was easy to expect, he thought that he was really safe. So people claiming he did absolutely nothing, this and that. So he was one that they could, get rid of. So they all coming together, even though some, half of them were on some of them were on opposing end, like the Melody and Mallory, Drew and Barrett in the middle, but they all come together and say we're gonna make a coalition, the Mosh Pit, and they even want to include the Mean Girl. There's like the actual Mean Girl antagonist, even though she's trying to claim that she's being bullied. This girl named Haley, but they're willing to include her in they want to preserve her, even though she's the quote unquote mean girl of the house, but they're still willing to include Haley, and she's white. But yeah, they come together to form the Mosh Pit. And this is everybody that's left in the house, including Haley, who's not shown in this picture here. And who is not in the Mosh Pit? Who's left in the house that's not in the Mosh Pit? This guy happened to be a color, happened to have darker skin. And these two. And these two are definitely, but they're more willing to make a deal and work with him. Before they are, where these two females, and in the case of Taylor, the younger one on the bottom, who's a little more reserved, whereas LALA's a little more social. Taylor's a little more reserved, but she do her thing on the low. So some people like Rick Devens think she got no game, but he don't understand. She's just doing her thing on the low. But it seems as if she's only really able to talk to LALA, because even from the very beginning, like when Rick Devens came in the house as the surprise house guest, the icon, and that was from the beginning of the season. She noticed from the very beginning he snubbed her, like he didn't. She was like greeting him to hug him, and she noticed from the very beginning. And I didn't take it as nothing, because I was like, I didn't witness anything like that on Survivor. So I figured maybe he just wasn't thinking. But now I see, for whatever reason, yeah, I noticed Rick Devens even keep taking jabs at these females. And they've done nothing, really. They've done nothing. Yeah, so she's, and it's causing her to become more reserved, because people ain't really, like when she comes to people to talk, yeah, they may come to her, but, like if she tries to initiate, and it appears as if they're people just purposely not trying to work with her. That's how it appears. Yeah, so these are the three, and they just happen to be on the house. And people are trying to say, oh, this isn't prejudice. This isn't prejudice. They're pointing out that hey, Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, well, I've been catching, that's kind of, I don't like that with the live feeds, because it's giving away too many spoilers. But now I'm glad that they're doing the thing with the live, because I really don't even care to watch this season anymore. So now I can just go to Lipstick Alley, and they're sharing what's going on. They're sharing little clips, like Twitter clips and all of that for the live feeds. Because I'm not gonna lie, after after Kamala got voted out, I'm really not interested. Only thing is, though, it's like it's giving away too many spoilers, and that's kind of weird. I'd never seen that. Yeah, I have Paramount Plus. And that's weird. When I click to see what people talking about with the live stream, because I just discovered that. Because I was like, how did people know that Yash won the head of house? I was like, how did they know that? Yeah, so I just discovered that. Like, how they finding this out, you know? And I think that's weird because, like, right now I could click in Paramount and show you what they're doing right now. You know that's weird. So if they're just, I guess they can show you everything, but them being in the shower nude and using the bathroom. That's the only thing. Like they'll show them like at night, so that's really 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 odd. I could not be on a show like that where I'm watched, under surveillance like that. That's really weird to me. But yeah, so these two sisters have been, isolated. And yeah, okay, first they were, okay, the first they were complaining, or Rick Devens, they were all complaining. Okay, Rick Devens, the survivor quote unquote icon, first he and certain others, they were like talking as if, Taylor got game. Like they saw her game, even though she's more reserved, but like as if they knew that she had game. They knew that she was a player, even if she's not as vocal or as loud with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like she's somebody to worry about. But now he's claiming she does nothing. She lays in bed all day. And that's another thing. And he can't respect her game. She's not a player. Now she was able to, get herself veto, win a competition, win a veto, and get herself off the block. That's saying something. And I think that was one of the most difficult games where you'd have to guess, even though it required any physical strategy. The whole wine testing, poison wine thing. So that means that she does have a skill for reading people. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. What I was gonna say, yeah. But then they complaining that they're doing nothing, but and I know part of the game is not just cooking and cleaning, but how would they be? I think it's kind of crazy to now say that they're lazy, especially I wouldn't even feel right even saying that they're doing nothing if they're the only ones cooking and cleaning. Yeah, and then they're doing little things to like agitate them, trying to agitate. You know how people are always trying to trigger us because they know that they're the ones doing the cooking and cleaning, and yeah, especially LALA, she's doing most of the cooking, and so they're doing little things, playing little tricks. Let's put honey on the door to piss them off. Let's put this towel in the toilet to piss LALA off. And so, like, why are they doing this stuff? And then you even got the white woman, the older woman, the so-called motherly figure, Angela. She's like, let's give Taylor, the young one, young enough to be her daughter, let's give Taylor a bad day. And everybody's noticing this. Even, now even the white folks are kind of, they making videos having to say something. Like, okay, this is, because, they don't want to look like the obvious bad guys. So, even, yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about. And people are saying, no, this isn't, they're saying that the mosh pit is not just, that's diversity. You know how they're being slick and claiming that they're casting diversity because they have some Latino, because D, and come to find out Drew, they are Latino or part Latino or whatever. D and Drew, right? Let me see, do I have an image? I had a picture of them. Oh yeah, let me try to, give me a sec. come on, come on. Sorry, things are kind of freezing a little bit on me. Okay. Yeah, they're claiming now. D, at least you can, she does have an accent. She's like of Cuban descent, American, but of Cuban descent. And she does have an accent. I think she's from like Florida. Drew, however, he has no accent. You would not have known that he was Mexican or part Mexican. You would not have known that. He sounds like any other white American dude, right? Yeah, he sounds like any other. It's like, y'all. Is that one dude's shadow? Yeah, what's this OCG TV? But you even have even some Caucasian people making videos addressing how the house is just, yeah, especially this guy Drew. He can't stop talking about Lala and Taylor, but more specifically Taylor, the younger one. And I'm gonna tell you what I think this is about. Give me a second. Yeah, you see as videos piling on Taylor and Lala. Okay, where's the video I saw? the make the Make BB Great Again Alliance. Wait, y'all see what? Oh, okay. I'm hoping that y'all see what I'm sharing. Oh, wait, thought I shared. But as you can see, yeah, he's got this the Make BB or Big Brother Great Again Alliance. Yeah, yeah. People are piling on Taylor and Lala. It seems like some people are noticing, not just black people. Like, okay, this isn't looking very good. What we're seeing here, and especially with them, oh, let's doing things purposely to agitate them, wanting to get them to react. Like you got this girl Haley, who is a very obvious mean girl. She's one of those pick me types. She targets. I noticed this one with the shades here. Haley, she targets. She's like a just pearly things. She targets the pretty girls. Like, yeah, she targets the attractive. She's been trying to get the attractive white females out of the house. She's one of those, like what they say. She's not a girl's girl. She's a guy's girl or whatever. But yeah, but she's been trying to make it seem as if actually she's big, trying to paint the narrative like she's the one being bullied and yeah, she throws and Taylor confronted her about or she told her about her microaggressions, but she's trying hard to make herself look like the victim. But yeah, like I had to post. Was it this one? Was it in this video? Oh, okay. Yeah, I left my post in this video. Drew really wants to lose to someone white. um, yeah, because people are saying no, this can't be a racial thing because they've included in this Mosh Pit Alliance you have Drew and D, and they're Latino or part Latino. Okay, so I posted, some days ago. I said Drew may be half Mexican, but he's predominantly Caucasian, like D. At least that's what I see. Okay, more than likely, most definitely over 70% of their DNA would match them up with Europeans. Okay, and remember the Spaniards, unlike mestizos over here in, yeah, over here in the Americas, the Spaniards and the Portuguese, they were they're pretty much, even if some may not see them as white, they may not be considered part of, let's say, the white ethnicity, like let's say over here in the United States, they are and even if some they may not be considered Anglo-Saxon, they are still Caucasian. Okay. Um yeah, so I said Drew may be half Mexican, but he's predominantly Caucasian, like D. Now there are those who will lecture me. There's a difference, however, between Caucasian and white, but y'all get the point. Okay, I said I'm sure that the overwhelming majority of their DNA, over 65%, would match them up with the Caucasian population of Europe. And in these Latin American countries, unlike how it may be in the US, complexion is more of a determining factor of race, like how it is in India with the color caste system. So they would definitely benefit over darker Latinos in Latin America. No one would even know that Drew, especially now, I could figure it out with at least with D, but no, in the case of Drew, seriously, Drew, dude, he looked like. Wait, hold on. Drew looked like. Give me a sec, y'all. He, for real, he looked like he came from an '80s new wave group from the UK. He looked like he could have been a member of the Flock of Seagulls, for real. And I run it, and then he has just, he has no Latino American accent. I don't know if he even knows Spanish, and his name is Drew. What's his last name? Yeah. And sometimes those ones, like the Nick Fuentes types, those can be some of the most racist. Really wanting to, and he has been, I don't know, he's definitely, obviously, got something against LALA and Taylor, but especially Taylor. I'm gonna think I can guess what it is. Even though initially they didn't really notice, because he's one of those who he's good at playing the middle, making everybody think that he cool with him. But deep down, like with these two, it's obvious he has disgust, especially for Taylor. He can't stop saying something about her. It's obvious. But yet he's become America's favorite. Now there are some people who believe that yeah, because every week they get like whoever's voted America's favorite. Ain't nobody black, despite LaLa making history, and she ain't done nothing really to nobody. But ain't nobody voted her, motherly figure or not. But let them claim that everybody loves, especially older black women. That's a damn lie. She still ain't. Nobody's voted her or Taylor. They voted all these other people, even Melody, who ain't really done nothing. But even she got every week somebody, been voted as America's favorite. Now, some people believe that it's rigged. To a degree, I believe that it was rigged for, D and Rick Devens, these icons to get a power. But I do believe that's still how America would have voted. I don't know why people are shocked. I knew that, Drew and all these other people would get voted, get America best award, America's best award before, for a power play, chance of the power play before the black women. And even if, even after Drew, if they were, he got the very last power. I tried to vote. I tried to vote for him, for Taylor. But, yeah, and if there was another power to be given out, but he got the last power. Let me see, who got the first? Was Rick Devens, and then D, and then was it Angela, and then Mallory, and then Melody, and then Drew, and they ain't got nothing. Yeah. I do believe that's how America, considering the quote unquote majority, I believe that rigged or not, I believe that's how they would vote. That's what I would expect. And if there was another award to have been getting, they still wouldn't get it. It would be going to Barrett. I know how this go. It would go to Barrett before it would go to Yash. I definitely believe that. This is America. Yeah, you say you only watched the. Yeah, I wish this was all in one episode. Understand? I haven't been watching the show as long, so I don't really know the term. I'm not used to the terminology. I wish the episodes with the veto, blockbuster, all that stuff. I just wish it was just one all big episode, maybe once a week. Yeah, I see what you're saying though. The live feeds. Yeah, I see. There's obviously a lot that they're leaving out. And even with those live feeds, when I did click into one, I noticed that just as like Lala and Taylor, when I'm thinking I'm about to hear something interesting, it clicks off, you know? But there is a lot, that they're leaving out. But I don't know how people are catching that because you can't rewind it or anything. So I guess you'd have to screenshot, when they're sharing it to TikTok and all. But yeah, this guy just keeps making these jabs. And then he made the ultimate jab in saying, okay, now he does want them to be voted off. And then he's saying stuff like they need to just drop the challenge and not even perform and just leave and all that. They just keep, like what the hell is his problem? But then he went as far as saying something to the fact, what did he say? We could just keep them around for cooking and cleaning. I said, oh, hell no. Yes, yes, no joke. This is what this guy said. Even if I didn't say it exactly how he said it. But you can look into it yourself. Like, you could just keep them for... I was like, I don't even... You know what? Black folks... Yeah, I don't think our show won't be watching it. Let these white folks have their show. Yeah, this... I don't think... I've gotten excited watching Survivor, but this has only been the second season I've watched. I think I'm done with this show. I know that's just this season, but if it wasn't for the fact that, okay, yeah, you're gonna have individuals who are jerks and perhaps racist even, but it's the fact that it does appear that it is rigged for certain people. And there are theories. There are those who believe that they are trying to get a winner that America, their CBS audience would be pleased with. Their white, perhaps older CBS audience would be pleased with, like having these icons brought back, and everything just happened to be going in their favor. It's got to be rigged to some degree, because like somebody said, I think this was at Lipstick Alley. Is it a coincidence that the week that the power of punishment, it just happened to be where they're like dressed as supposedly Adam and Eve with just leaves covering the privates and the breast and privates? It just happened to be the week that Mallory, and she chooses Melody. Because imagine, can you imagine if it was Angela who's overweight, and it just the with Angela, she just happened to be in the egg suit. She's big. I mean, come on, that's no. I don't think that's a coincidence. And the first two, they just happen to be powers. They just happen to. Because I even think when they hit the little buzzer, they got that rig. You know, it'd be better if it was like a draw or something. I don't know. It just happened to be like this, the most powerful, this power of veto, where you can remove someone and put somebody else on the block. Yeah, on those the first two, and it goes to D and Devin, and they. Hey, how you doing? Forever Hello Kitty. I'm glad more people are watching. Someone needs to bully the bullies. What, Big Brother Compton? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm like, what is with this guy? But yeah, so even there are people who are noticing this, And look, yeah, he may be. I don't even. I wouldn't even see Drew as being of the Mexican ethnicity. Even that's like in that case. So is Christina Aguilera. Okay, all right. Does he even eat Mexican food? I'm not talking Taco Bell. Like seriously, he looked like he came from the '80s, like an '80s new wave or high energy. He looked like a member of Depeche Mode, for real. New Order. How does it feel? For real, he looked like he speaks with a British accent. Like no, like, and his accent is totally white American. There's no, I don't detect no, no no Latino American, no, like Hispanic American accent. Does he even speak Spanish? Yeah, not at least with D. Yeah, I could guess that she's Cuban, but she's still predominantly white. Where some people think her accent is like kind of fake and exaggerated. I noticed some people posting because it did seem like her accent when who was she talking to? When she was like talking to Mallory, it did seem like alone. Yeah, you see D here in the upper left, and actually I dug D. I kind of felt people was didn't give her props maybe because she's a female and the whole thing that went down with her and the guy that she was playing with on Survivor. Some people felt he was a simp and all that. Felt that she just used people. I gotta give her props. She does have good social game. I have to give her props. She's a lot like the mermaid dragon. What was that girl that won Survivor 46? The redhead. How you thinking that she your best friend? She ended up turning on Tiffany. But she knew how to do it so well without Tiffany detecting a damn thing. And Tiffany's still cool with her. What was her name? But it was the East Indian guy. That was he Banu. He spotted it. Q saw it too, but I can't believe that Q fell for Emily. He was able to detect with what was her name? Cause she would even probably fool me, somebody like me. Seeming cool as hell. So in the case of D, I will say, and she is a good physical competitor. When it comes to things, I don't think she would be. She's that good, like in puzzles and things like that. But when it comes to physical competitions, I expected her to when she was on the challenge, I expected D to go a little further. But I hear what's this about her being a home wrecker? Yeah, I saw something where some female she took the female's husband or she was with somebody's husband, some biracial female. D was with got with her husband or something. But as a competitor, I'll give you props if Devins. I think he well on Survivor he did make it exciting, but he's one of those people. Seriously, I would think I would be kind of afraid being married to him because he seemed like even though his family love him and all his wife and kids, I could tell he's a fun dad. But that's the thing, he seemed like he's too cool of a dad. You know what I'm saying? He seemed. I would be worried if I was married to him. I would be scared that he would gamble everything and have us lose everything because I could tell he's a gambler. But there are some people believing that, yeah, because it's kind of hard for me to believe that he would use his power of veto on D. I just don't think that's a move from what I saw, at least on his. I only saw him one season on Survivor, and that was the more recent one. I don't think he would have. Yeah, he said that he's ride or die for his allies. He did kind of show that with Chris and Emily on Survivor. And I liked Chris. I like him a lot. I hope he doesn't disappoint me. Because I was really liking Rick Devens. I was feeling like, he should have got some a little extra just for, raising the money. But he's one of those who, seemed to, he would put it on the flip of a coin. His life savings, you know what I'm saying? And it does seem like he liked to play. But I just find it hard to believe that he would have given his power of veto that he could have used on himself to D. Yeah. I could see him doing that even with Chris on Survivor, but not D. Even if they are having fun and playing together and everything, because I know she would not have used that on him. I know this, so it does make me wonder: is he like getting a little money out of the table? um, no, I didn't. I only know Taylor Hale from I just know she was on with Kyland and they were dating at the time. My first time seeing her was on The Amazing Race. I want to get on that with my husband. I want to get on The Amazing Race. I do. That was my first time learning about it. I heard that, yeah, she was on Big, like a winner, Big Brother. Maybe I'll watch that season with her next time it's time for me to lock my hair. I want to check it out. But yeah, I know that she's giving commentary on the like what's that behind the scenes show. Understand? I haven't been watching the show that long, so. But yeah, you said, did you hear about what they did to black contestant Taylor Hale a few years ago? Lots of microaggressions about her beauty. Wow, she is gorgeous. Hold on. Yeah, she is beautiful. She's like one of those natural beauties. Don't really have to wear makeup. So that would not make no sense. Oh, it looked like she was a beauty queen. What could they possibly say? Yeah, see, I remember, yeah, her being, and I remember him from the challenge. Now, see, I love shows. Oh wait, I'm not showing. You guys are not seeing what I'm sharing. I'm sorry. What could they have possibly been saying? Oh, I had wanted them to. I wanted him to win the challenge. I really did. Oh wait, but no, they didn't win. They didn't win that season though of Amazing Race. But they were close, right? They were real close. Just like he was really close with the Survivor, but he lacked the swimming ability. Yeah, because I liked them. I liked him definitely on the challenge. Some people are saying that that's going to end soon. I hope not, because I really like the challenge. I love shows like that. I used to be, believe it or not, athletic, so I watched that show and I play vicariously through the black contestants. Like Michaela, that's my girl. She's a beast. I mean, no, I don't want to use that term, but hey, Adam Guidry. Yeah, I like Kylie. Oh, I was so mad watching the season challenge. And what's that? The biracial guy. I was all happy to see that he was brought back, Cedric, and then they get rid of him. I was mad. But yeah, she's beautiful. Yeah, so my first time learning about her was through Amazing Race with Kylan, and they were a couple, and that was cool. So I was really rooting for them, and they went pretty far in the game. So you know, I'm gonna check that season out. Will I get really mad? I'm gonna check that season out next time it's time for me to lock my hair. I'm gonna check that season out with her. Some girl had a problem with her being a pageant girl. Her season was good. Okay, well I'm gonna definitely check that out. I just started watching last, and like, why when I start watching, there's this tragedy with the girl Mickey. I like Mickey. I liked her. I don't care what anybody say. I like Mickey. She was real. I like Mickey. Yeah, only thing that's bothering me with Taylor and LALA, stop cooking and cleaning for these people. Stop. I understand. Some people though, they just can't be in no dirty environment. But nah. And then what I'm showing somebody, they showing in Lipstick Alley, what? They showed a picture of all the mess. Hecky no. Wait, what is something? Let me see. Where that picture at? Yeah, there go LALA. Where that picture at? Like, ain't no way. Look at what they leave. Look at this. Oh wait, I thought y'all was seeing. Y'all see this? They need some kind of kitchen item organizer in there. Also, that sink is piled up. LALA, are they on strike? I hope they are. I hope they are. And listen to this. Yeah. So listen to this. Uh, so this is shared from a video. Dina the Explorer just a day ago. Big Brother 28 live feeds update. Okay, she's sharing a live feed. This yeah, she had the video Taylor Tears Matter. Cause okay, see, like when a white woman cries, everybody, the world stops, everybody comforts her, everybody feel bad. But with a black female, you're just playing victim. So yeah, I noticed that she got in the thumbnail Taylor Tears Matter. So I guess this is from a live feed. I haven't seen what episode, but I guess this is recently. So Angela, who was acting like she was cool, and that's another thing that was kind of disappointing me with Taylor and LALA. Like LALA, now at first LALA was like, when Angela came in the house as the guest that they brought back, she was like, oh no, like there can only be one motherly figure in the house. But then she grew to like Angela, bonding with her as an older woman, as a lot of us loving, motherly, older black women do. Um, yeah. But Angela has been, behind their back, just. And I see now why they've been dogging her out at Lipstick Alley. Now I get it. She is indeed a Karen. And I don't even understand why she's saying with the mosh pit, with her Caucasian alliance, let's give Taylor a bad day. Why? And this girl is younger than you. Angela's in her 50, old enough to be a mother. Why is she? I understand this is a game and stuff. This is TV, but I don't like this. So, and it's like they're wanting them to go off, or they're wanting them to snap. They're wanting them to get out of character.
So what happened? Taylor brought out all the points.
Okay, wait.
Listen, I know you're not.
Let me see. Go back to what she has said. Again, this is from Dina the Explorer channel.
Alliance. Sirius confronted Taylor. They had this black girl who they were bullying. When they flipped the mattress, well, nothing really happened. I just remember that moment when they flipped what's her name's mattress, the black girl who they were bullying. That's real bullying. Speaking of bullying, and
let me just copyright. Angela, the older white woman.
Angela confronted Taylor. They had a confrontation, basically accusing Taylor of not taking the Honor Society Alliance seriously and not talking game with Angela. Angela was trying to get at Taylor because remember, Angela said that she wanted Taylor to have a bad week.
Let's give Taylor an awful week.
So what happened? Taylor brought out all the points.
It just means I know you're not working with me closely. It just means that I'm not working with anybody, but you are, and it's okay. The only person I work closely with, talk too closely with, is Yash. I can't talk nothing with LALA because LALA blows everything up.
Now, she is just, LALA is actually her closest, but she don't want to give, Angela everything, okay? She's not trying to tell her everything, all right? But it's also a thing of LALA is the person willing to talk to her, So it's like they have no choice but to, be with each other. Like some people could say, oh, well, they turned on the one brother. No, he did not want to work with him. It was clear that he preferred working with the white folks. And that's the only reason that they tolerated him. See, I'm going to tell you what it is. When we come together, they really don't like. We're already the tokens, right? But they really don't like when we come together and bond with each other. It is expected that, let's say, the women are gonna bond. Like it's expected that females are gonna bond. Another girl is gonna bond with another female because we have something in common as females, right? And if we're of the same age group, and they understand they're of the same ethnicity, so that's just expected. Like if you had two Cubans in the house, it's expected that the two Cubans, and let's say, especially if they're from, let's say they're both from Florida, that would be expected. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're prejudiced, but if you come together and bond but in this case, it's not just about them bonding based on ethnicity. They're kind of being how they're kind of isolated. Because even from the very beginning, when Taylor tried to hug, like Rick Devens and greet him, she felt kind of snubbed. Now, at first, being that I didn't see that side of Rick Devens on Survivor, I just took it as, he probably wasn't thinking, probably didn't know that she was trying to really greet him and stuff. Not saying that I felt Taylor was overreacting, but I just felt her being younger and everything, and it probably just hurt her feelings a little bit. But now I see she knew what she was picking up on. She knew because he's continuously, and it's being too obvious. Usually white people try to play it off, with the talking, and even with the black guy who he thought was safe, they showed how expendable he was. And they knew, like Yash knew to use LALA's head of household wig to, straight up rat on him on how, so that he wouldn't be put up. Oh yeah, but that's kind of also on Taylor, because LALA was determined she wanted Rick Devens out. She been wanting Rick Devens. That's the only person she really been wanting out besides Haley. But then he probably would have been able to use that power of veto, so we don't know how that would have went. And they probably would have been out sooner, so I don't know.
So who else? Can't person I work with. I'm not working with anybody.
So what happened? Taylor brought out all the points.
It just means I know you're not working with me closely. It just means I'm not working with anybody, but you are, and it's okay. The only person I work closely with, talk to closely with, is Yash. I can't talk nothing with LALA because LALA blows everything up. So who else? Anything else I've ever had has not gone through. We tried to do something with it, that blew up. I tried to do something with Devins and Kamu, that blew up. So anything I've ever had has blown up in my face, Miss Angela. So of course I'm going to be reserved. And of course I feel like this just blew up because I'm put on the block. I don't think you're understanding that everything I try to do in this house blows up. So of course I feel like that. Of course I feel like that. I can't trust nobody because I keep ending up on the fucking block, and every time I try to align something and do something, people spit in my face.
Hey, Gina.
I'm not trying to spit in your face. You asked me what she said to me up there. I'm just telling you. You sit here telling me that you feel like you're not in alliance with me.
Yeah,
I do. Okay, and that's fine. And I'm telling you how I feel. And I withdraw. That's why you think I'm so quiet. That's why I don't have, because I feel like if you say anything, people just take it and run with it.
This makes me sad. I didn't see this, and I didn't even see the last episode. I'm just picking up now from, people sharing these lives. So obviously, I'm assuming they didn't air this. Or this didn't air. It hasn't aired yet. And I don't think they probably won't air this if they haven't. But this is from, I guess, the live feed, I'm assuming. So this is really kind of, because it's making me think of a loved one of mine and what they're saying that they're going through. And this, okay, like, she's a little more reserved than LALA. But the main person that she's working with is LALA, even though she can't totally admit that. And also maybe Yash. Those are the only people. But it's like she's afraid to say how close she's working with LALA. And there was a moment where I couldn't agree with Taylor where she was telling LALA. I understood, though, why she was telling LALA to just let it go with her issue with Haley, or what was something with Angela. Because, I'm like, Angela. No. But I think that LALA, she still feels that she got this mother-to-mother bond with Angela, and Angela is a snake. Didn't you pick up the sign when they were in the kitchen and Angela had a knife that accidentally flew out of hand and what Lala said is she trying to stab me in the back? Yeah. If that wasn't a sign, I don't know what. But see, this is the thing. She grilling her on her because really she want her to admit that her and Lala, the other black woman, they're close together. Like you're talking with Lala, but you're not talking. That's basically what she's, trying to grill her on. You're talking with Lala, but you're not talking with the rest of us. Well, what she is saying in response is that every time I do try to, without giving her too much information, every time I do try to work with, it blows up, or they're ignoring her, or they're giving her signs like they don't really want to work with her. And that's the dang on shame that she has to. A lot of times we as black people, even not even just on the show, but in the real world, we can't really show that we're working together. Have you ever noticed that, like on the job? Have you ever this is something, and I've talked about this before. Like if you're working for a company or corporation, and I know I used to, work in the offices and all of that. Or even when I was working in customer service, like fast food even. I remember it was back in the 90s. It was always this this black guy. But these were whenever they would always make sure to schedule us at separate times. And these were some Hispanics though. Like they would always schedule, and we were real cool with each other, but they would always make sure to schedule us on different days. And whenever we'd be like, hey, what's something? They would come over to the black guy. Don't you have something to do this, that? Like they didn't want him. And I remember these were some Hispanics though. They didn't want us talking together. And I would notice that, like, and even in office settings, I used to do, like you be in a cubicle, like when I was doing administrative assistance work and all of that, you be in a cubicle. If more than one black person join you, like come in your cubicle to talk, have a cup of coffee, talk about how your day and how your children doing or whatever, let it be 3 black people. You're gonna have some white person covered over. Hey, what are you guys talking about? Almost like they're afraid, like we're coming together plotting against them or something. Okay, so you saying it hasn't aired? How you been, Dina? So I'm wondering where they play this part. Even if they don't play all of it. But I noticed, and that's what I think it is. That's what I see. See, they tolerated Chuck because he isolated himself from the black females. But you see how he was expendable. And ain't the only person that miss him is Haley, the white girl, the pick me. That's the only person that miss him. But you see how they was, the Kamu. So they really don't like, oh, how dare these two, and they look alike. They look like they can be mother-daughter. So she's got to be kind of afraid to even talk about. So here Angela grilling her. So they can ignore her, but how dare she? See, this is the thing. They can ignore Taylor. They can ignore the black females, but how dare these black women try to ignore us? How dare you be withdrawn and withdraw yourself from us? And she's telling you, every time I do try to work with her, it blows up. Or, basically they snub her or whatever. So she just decides to just go off to herself. You know what she's talking about, especially as a black person. Like if you're in the work, I feel her. I know what she's talking about. I know somebody who's going through this. So then when you go off to yourself, what's wrong with you? You think you're too good to try to, because they want us to try to be friends and stuff with them. So then when we go off to ourselves and do our own thing, oh my God, what they doing? It's just like how they've excluded us, like when they excluded us from networks like MTV. So then when we go off and we do our own thing and form BET, why you gotta have a BET? Why is there a need for a black entertainment television? Why is there a Negro League? Or, you know what I'm saying? How dare you go and do something on your own without us? When you're like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna go do my own thing. I don't need you as a friend, or I don't need you. Do you get what I'm saying? I think that's what some of this, and of course, obvious, they're black. Let's keep it real. And somebody had audacity after what Drew said. We could just keep them though for cooking and cleaning about the two black women. What's racist? So when somebody in the comment section called that out as being racist, oh, playing victim. I'm like I say, nobody is crying victim more than white people, especially white men today. Okay. Nobody is a victim but them. Let them tell it today. Also, they're the only white men are the only people that are experiencing sexism today too. Don't forget. But yeah, of course, there's absolutely nothing racist or racially insensitive about a Caucasian person saying that these women should only be kept for cooking and cleaning. Two women who happen to be descendants of women who were enslaved in Americas, in the United States. They happen to be descendants, these two women just happen to be descendants of women who were enslaved in America, where they had to do all the cooking and cleaning for a white household. There's nothing racial. Nothing racial to consider about saying something like that. There's nothing racial. But of course, Drew, he's I guess let me see, what's his last name? Let me see, do we even have let's see, look at him here. Why are we assuming Drew's comment on LALA is, look, of course, Reddit, they got to do the damage control. On Big Brother 28, house guest Drew has faced severe fan backlash and accusations of microaggressions and racial bias regarding comments he and other house guests made toward black female contestants Taylor Brown and Latrice LaLa Verrett. Viewers and former players criticized Drew for painting Taylor and LaLa as aggressive bullies and making disparaging remarks about them, including comments regarding domestic roles. Wait, hold on. Hold on, hell no. His last name is Campbell. y'all telling me he Mexican? His last name Campbell. Get the hell out of here. Drew Campbell, but he's Mexican. Okay, all right. Whatever y'all say. Lord, yeah, he's the diversity, right? Drew Campbell. Okay, that's his last name. You got it. Seriously. Wow, he's Mexican. This is for La Raza. He's Mexican. Okay. All right. Is he doing air guitar? Yes, that's. I know I'm stereotyping him. I'm telling you, dude look like. Okay, maybe I'll see it here. Maybe. They just happen to catch him here in the picture. Maybe I see it here. Seriously though, he looked like he could he could have been a member. I'm telling you, he looked like he could have been a member of Depeche Mode. For real. And his name, Drew Campbell. Get the hell out of here. Okay, I might see it. His eyes are rather dark. Cause I could, even though D got whiter skin than him. Hey, hold on. If you were looking at these guys, Drew and Barrett, the two icon butt kissers, if you would look at them, I would probably guess dude on the right, at least his hair is a little curlier. Well, I know Mexicans being mestizo and that native and more likely have straighter hair, but I'm just saying, like, hold on. His name, Drew Campbell. He's trying to tell me a damn. And look at D. Look at D here. With Barrett, who is white, who would be considered just white. Look, who got the whitest skin? But I know it's not just about skin. I know. Oh goodness. Yeah, but I'm telling you, and I'm gonna also tell you what I think it is. Even with Drew, I think it's not only they don't like when black people come together and like, especially what they want to see is isolating themselves or just talking to each other. They're so used to us trying to be included with them. So when that's what it is, and they see them getting along, and they're not totally playing into this stereotype that they want them to be. And with Taylor being, see that, and that's another thing too. If we're loud, they got an issue with it. Like if you're, but if and they have even more of an issue if you're withdrawn or reserved or. They want her to open up more with them, even though she has been social. She's just not necessarily, and also, when you're just not feeling, like. But I'm okay with how she's playing the game. She shouldn't be. Yeah. If I understand why she's trying to, I don't want to say tame LALA or keep her from saying certain things or keep her from giving her game or just keeping it low. But the way that with LALA on that one episode or where she gets mad at LALA, I feel that's kind of disrespectful because she still is old enough to be a mother. So I don't really like seeing somebody younger like checking LALA like that and trying to give her. I understand she looking out for her as a sister and she believed that this is the better way of playing the game. But there is a point where no, you can't, because you see it doesn't matter how laid back you try to be. There's going to be somebody who's going to, and you see eventually Taylor where she got to hide in Drew's brush. And I ain't mad at her. But yeah, this guy, I'm going to tell you what I think it is also. You do have also these guys. Now notice how he's mean towards Taylor, who don't even really talk. Now first he had an issue, yeah, and he was talking about LALA walking around with a bikini on, and like nobody want to see that. Okay, yeah. See, too, I know what it is also. See, sometimes you have these white boys or these Caucasian non-black or these kind of like when you think about that boy that's crushing on you. Now, it's apparent that he's crushing on Melody. But see, Taylor is that black girl that would not talk to him. Think Eminem, Yellow Brick Road. Real talk, y'all. Think Eminem with that bullshit story that he gave behind the song Foolish Pride. Like, how dare this black, and being that they may see black females as supposedly at the bottom of the totem pole. Like, how dare this be the type of female to not be feeling me or into me, knowing that Taylor would not be the type. And he probably see her as a stuck up, being that she's a more reserved person. And that's what sometimes that animosity is too. See, he can play them little games with Melody. So that's what some of this animosity is too. But yeah, I'm gonna just let me play a little bit more of what was said here once again. Yeah, so I just wanted to, but yeah, I ain't gonna lie, he kinda, with some of these videos, he kinda cracking me up. They call he said hold up. The make Big Brother
Mallory.
great again. But he has like a little segment, Karen watch. I need to speak to the manager. Yeah. Well, let me get back to what the sister was sharing. Once again. So her concern, her conversation, it's just fake. She's just trying to trigger. She's just trying to trigger Taylor.
Not working with me closely. It just means that I'm not working with anybody. But
You know, Angela was trying to get at Taylor because remember, Angela said that she wanted Taylor to have a bad week.
let's give Taylor an awful week.
So what happened? Taylor brought out all the points.
It just means I know you're not working with me closely. It just means that I'm not working with anybody, but you are, and it's okay. The only person I work closely with, talk to closely with, is Yash. I can't talk nothing with LALA because LALA blows everything up. So who else? Anything else I've ever had has not gone through. We tried to do something with him, that blew up. I tried to do something with Devin Zikamu, that blew up. So anything I've ever had has blown up in my face, Miss Angela. So of course I'm going to be reserved. And of course I feel like this just blew up because I'm put on the block. I don't think you're understanding that everything I try to do in this house blows up. So of course I feel like that. Of course I feel like that. I can't trust nobody because I keep ending up on the fucking block, and every time I try to align something and do something, people spit in my face. I'm not trying to spit in your face. You asked me what she said to me up there. I'm just telling you. You sit here telling me that you feel like you're not in alliance with me.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and that's fine. And I'm telling you how I feel. And I withdraw. That's why you think I'm so quiet. That's why I don't have, because I feel like if you say anything, people just take it and run with it. I can't say anything. I can't do anything. I can't even be in my fucking pod and people are still saying I'm saying shit. I'm frustrated. I'm ready to go home, so it doesn't matter because obviously I don't have your vote to stay this week anyway. That's not true. Totally true. I do love you. I do care about you. But it's only convenient for you or her to bring up an alliance when you need to. What alliance? Never talk strategy. The alliance we had, me, you, LALA, and supposedly Dave. You the one who said I brought it to you. I brought it to you, but you never ever treated it like it was anything, Taylor. Are you serious? I feel that way. Yes, I do.
She fronting.
Okay. We never talk strategy. Okay. You never pull me aside and whisper anything to me or talk to me anything about the game. Okay. It's true. Okay. I had to come up there to talk to you. And
remember, she said, "Let's give Taylor a bad week." She's bullshitting right here. She just needed something.
And every time I would try to talk to LALA alone, you were right there, and you never talked strategy with me.
Every time I tried to talk to LALA alone, you were right there. She wants her and LALA to be split up. Like, you just talk to me alone, or you just, that's also what it is.
With her, ever, when she had her HOH. I'm just being truthful.
Like, she would prefer that Taylor see her as the motherly figure, as opposed to LALA, the black woman, who she could perhaps relate to more as a mother. That's also what that's about. But she's bullshit and she's fake.
Well, and I said, Lala will repeat this to you because I said this to her. I said, I love Taylor, but I'm not listening to this because the whole alliance thing, it just never was a thing. It never felt that way because I had even gone to Lala after I brought it to you, and it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but I let it go because I know you're working with other people. And I asked you to be in an alliance. And I kind of felt
I
like,
know you're working with other people. Only other alliance she got is LALA and Yash. That's left, really. Real alliance, that is.
you walked away, and then you came back to me later after Lala probably told you what I said. I felt like you didn't want to be in it.
I did. Okay.
That I just accepted the layout.
Also, understand, she's feeling pressure to disconnect from LALA. Because even Yash himself said to her, we're going to have to let LALA, we're going to have to cut off LALA. Even he told her that. You see what I'm saying? It's okay for them to be in their little alliances together. But basically, you're going to have to isolate yourself, separate yourself from your people. And she'll still, when her people is gone, she'll be the first, she's still going to be the most expendable.
Yes. And so I was like, I don't think she wants to be in it. And then you came to me later and said, I actually do want to.
I didn't want to say yes without talking to Lala first, but I did want to be in it.
Okay.
I said yes.
Yeah, you did.
In the meeting, when you did, I said yeah.
You did. But those were the feelings that I had. Do you know what I mean? And I know that.
Y'all want me to like around here?
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely, Angela. I absolutely want to do it. That's what you want me to do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they want you to beg to be a part of. Yes, they want you to beg to be a part of their little mosh pit alliance. How dare you go off alone with LALA and be okay with that? Even though they're not really okay with being isolated, especially if it's a game for a lot of money and they know they're going to have to make it to the end with, and they're going to need allies, more allies. But see, yeah, if they could choose to just make it to the end, only associating with each other, they probably would. And, but especially considering how the house has been, acting and treating them. But see, that's the thing. They want us to beg for their acceptance. They're not going to just, initiate it. They want us to beg. See, when they push us aside and act like they don't really want to work with us, and then we're like, okay, cool, F it, and go off and work without. Then it's like, what's wrong? See, the bottom line, she's not only trying to provoke her because she wanted her to have a bad week for no reason at all. She ain't do nothing to her. Or any of them, really. But she wants her to have a bad week. In fact, she was calming LALA for, see that, Taylor? But she wants her to separate or disconnect or cut off LALA. This ain't just about wanting her to talk. She wanted her to cut off LALA. Like, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want to be in the big house?
Never did.
That is what you want.
That's what I wanted. No,
It gotta be. It gotta be. It gotta be.
What I wanted to do was actually work with you because I really like Lala.
Okay.
And I really like you.
Okay.
And then I knew you two liked each other. Perfect. It was perfect for me. I liked the idea of this. I liked the four of us working together. It didn't ever work out because
So my words aren't enough for you.
No, it's not your words,
Okay.
Taylor. It's the actions. Is that we never, ever strategize together, ever. We never talk game
You're
after
just
that
telling
together.
a story. You're
I'm
telling
telling a story?
Yeah.
What did you strategize
I
about?
can go down the line.
Let's do it.
So when we talk first thing we strategized about, because we did that maybe week 2-ish, we strategized about the Jason situation. Do we keep Jason or do we keep Melody?
That's not really,
That's
that's
not
honestly,
strategy.
these are two people that are on the block. This isn't like,
So what
I
strategy?
think he's better for my game. You never told me you thought Jason was going to be better for your game in this way. And these are the reasons why, because I'm in an
Yeah,
alliance
she's just
with him.
fine, and she's just fine.
You've never been honest with me about anything, about other things you have going on.
Okay.
I feel like if we're in an alliance and we're really close, we're going to like talk every day about something or give each other updates, which we don't. We have pleasantries. I like you here. I like
And then Haley's bitch ass could insert herself into the conversation.
See, I remember those guys too, and all he asked is what's going on, and I just said we were cool.
Haley's is, they're not showing a, well, you see her in the mirror right here. You know, the mean girl I was talking about.
That's it. But she said, but then you say that he asked you if you was in alliance with Taylor and Josh. What? See, we bruh.
Well, I'm not gonna take away from this woman's video. Again, this is I shared enough. Dina the Explorer. Yeah, so yeah, they just fine and stuff. But you know what? Even though Haley is the more obvious mean girl, I actually have more. Do I say more respect? Or I just have less respect for Angela. And look, you see, she got a smirk on her face. I can see it even here with this blurred picture. She got like a smirk on her face. She's not serious. They're just trying to provoke her. They're just trying to agitate her. They want her to be less reserved. They want her to snap and roll her neck and go off and all this stuff, for good TV. Because, they got to, so they could say that she's aggressive. And, it doesn't make them look so bad. And plus, like Angela said, she wants to give Taylor, for whatever reason, she wants to give her a bad week, like she said. Yeah, so she's full of ish. I'd rather deal with the obvious mean girl than someone like, acting like she's this caring mother. And I can't believe I actually felt sorry for this woman. I didn't understand at Lipstick Alley, being that I didn't watch her original season. I didn't understand why they kept, clowning her and talking about her and dissing her or this her body or whatever. I didn't understand, but I now see what they're talking about and why they've been calling her a Karen. And I see that she's full of crap. I actually felt bad for her with the whole thing with the Jason and seeing that's that motherly instinct in me. But not a mammy instinct. Don't get it twisted. But I'm still a woman. I'm still a mother, grandmother even now. So So oh goodness, you see, oh goodness. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. That's all it is. That's all it is. But yeah, you saying this hasn't aired. Yeah, I'm a figure too because I hear the profanity and stuff. But yeah. So this must be from a direct, more recent live stream. Now, being that the people that were put on the block for voted off were initially from when I last watched or when I last learned. What I last learned, it was being I didn't see like last episode and all, and now they have this after show episode. But from what after the whole power of veto was used, I know that it was Drew. Well, it was I'm sorry, it was Taylor, LALA, and Drew. Last I learned that were put on the block, but then I just learned that, yeah, I already told you, spoiler, that LALA, yay, won the power of veto to get herself off the block. And I believe, am I right, that she was replaced with Mallory, and Mallory's pissed. I'm just watching these videos, reading these comments in Lipstick Alley, because I kind of don't even really care to watch the episode. I'm just waiting. So now, being that LALA was able to take herself off the block, right? Am I right? So I guess now it's Drew, Mallory, the white girl, and Taylor on the block, being that they made this deal. It would have been Yash. It would have been him, the last guy of color. It would have been him on the block, but Dee made some, from what I read, yeah, she used her power, and she was now able, she couldn't bribe him initially, but now she was able to bribe him that if he wins head of household, but that's a lot though. Because it's saying that not only will he cannot put her up, but any of the other alliance members, Angela or Devins. I think they allowing for too much power with that. So they was able to make a deal with him, because otherwise he would have been on the block too. Yeah, and they would have. So they had no choice to find somebody Caucasian. And D winning. Yeah, and supposedly, is that true? With the last competition, I saw something. They saying that Mallory, or at least one of them, threw the competition and allowed for D to win head of household. That's whack. That is stupid. Um, yeah, but so I can't feel for Mallory. I'm sorry. Now they said, is it true that I got? Oh yeah, let me listen to the rest of this. Cause hold on, is it true that Melody? I'm wondering what did Melody say? Cause I thought Melody was cool. Is it true that she said something racist or something? Was something in mockery or mocking their accents or something? Now I know what's her name been calling them Cruella. She called Haley called LALA Cruella. Yeah, wait. Is it true? I ain't hear this, but they said that Haley referred to LALA and Taylor as salt and pepper. Now I don't think it's about their hair. Although she did say something, didn't she say something about their hair being like all over the sink or something like that? Throwing little microaggressions. Oh, and people saying, is this how it regularly is? But yeah, I definitely said I'm with them on Lipstick Alley. They need to seriously, if they leave in the house like this, I know it's quite a few people, but they need to stop. They need to just straight up be on strike. I don't know how to do it because I myself I couldn't be in the house. It's like that. I couldn't be there. I'd have to do something. But and I know I deal with some sort of obsessive compulsive, so I know that I couldn't stand that. But it's not about me being no mammy. Yeah, because some people are criticizing why is she they actually getting mad at LALA that she. Well, Jason, the gay guy that was, or the former drag queen that was on the show, or current drag queen, yeah. Jason, who was cool with them, he said that LALA just said he's been voted off. He said that LALA said everybody's got to eat. Like that was her explanation for continuously cooking and stuff. She's saying everybody got to eat. But you know what? I'd be like, man, I'd make a big old thing that just be just for me. But yeah, so enjoy the rest of the evening. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Yeah, so look for yeah. Is it Thursday that it's gonna air? So we're gonna see who gets voted off, and it's gonna be live. And you can go to Paramount, and yeah, that's kind of crazy though. I could not be on a show like that. So while they're laying there sleeping, snoring, drooling on their pillows, you could see that whatever they're doing right now. That's kind of crazy, but it's allowing. Yeah, because at first I was upset reading through Lipstick Alley, and I'm seeing all these spoilers. Well, they do give a warning. I was like wondering how did they know about this, but now I'm kind of glad that they're sharing these live feeds because I'm not really interested in watching the rest of the season. But of course, the ideal thing to happen is if Taylor wins the blockbuster, the BB blockbuster as they call it, and now they got to decide between Drew or Mallory. That's the ideal thing to happen. That's what I'm hoping for. However, if Taylor does not win, I do fear that Taylor she will be going home. So I hope not. I hope not. And then in a way, it's like I kind of want this to end though. At the same time, I kind of do want them out of this situation because this is yeah. Because even there's even some white people expressing discomfort watching this, and it could be an act. It could be. It could be because they just don't want to be seen as the bad guy. This is too obvious now that they're being kind of the way that they're being like picked on and isolated. That's kind of too obvious now. Um, so I'll get with you guys later. Peace and love, family.